And as Harris gears up for her Fox News appearance, former President Trump intensifying his campaign efforts in key battleground states. For their insights into the strategies of the two campaigns, let's bring in Republican strategist Bobby Eberle and Democratic strategist Chip Franklin. Bobby Eberle, Chip Franklin, thank you both so much for joining.
Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you both. Chip, let's start with you. Vice President Harris has agreed to an interview with Fox News tomorrow, Fox's Brett Baier. What do you expect to come out of this interview, and will it ultimately help her?
Well, you know, I've been a Democratic strategist for a long time, and I've been on Fox a few times on all the shows, Hannity, Laura Ingraham, Leland Vittert, the weekend show. And I found that for the most part, if you're not talking to Hannity, if you're not talking to, again, Ingraham in some cases, it's going to be fair. Brett Baier has been tough on Trump, and I assume he's going to have tough questions for her. But the real question here is that, you know, why won't Trump do this as well? Why won't Trump go with Brett Baier and others? And what does he have to hide? I mean, I know, you know, we all know what they're going to ask questions. They're going to ask her about immigration. They're going to ask her about the border bill. They're going to ask, you know, again, you saw Youngkin talking the other day about Trump's promise to go after Schiff and other radical left in the United States with the military. There's a lot there that she can answer to. And I would imagine Baier is going to have a hard time asking questions that haven't already been answered in the public, especially about immigration, and then Johnson and Trump killing that border bill. So I think she's going to do well, and I think this is really smart on her behalf. I think she's doing it in a lot of reasons because the race is that close. And I think she realizes that there are people that are going to come watch this. You know, there's 100 Republicans now that have left, and they're in Harris's camp. So I think she sees this as an opportunity, and a good one.
Bobby, what would you like to see Brett Baier ask Kamala Harris?
Well, yeah, this is a question. I agree a lot with what Chip was saying about, you know, these questions. She has been asked these questions before. Brett tends to be tough on Trump. But in my audience, in my sphere, my world, you know, there's a lot of talk going on about this interview and what questions will be asked and if it's as tough as it needs to be, because we've seen the CBS interview, the 60 Minutes, these other interviews that get edited and put out. And so there's a side of the Republican Party, conservatives, that are just dying for a straight question and answer. And although I would agree that a lot of these questions have been asked, the key to any good interview is that follow-up. Is, okay, you just dodged, you did your dodge or your branding item. Now let's get to the real meat, and why have you flipped on issue after issue after issue? I think if Brett could probe into that and get some straight answers as to, you know, why my values haven't changed, but my positions on issues have, then I think it could be entertaining and informative. And I don't really think she puts a lot at risk there because of the way the campaign's been trending. You could tell that the basement strategy changed, and so they're out there doing more of these interviews. I just wonder if it'll be enough.
Chip, I want to tap into your Democratic strategist background here, with Harris seeming to face a bit of a dilemma. How much to align with Biden versus how much to differentiate herself from him? What approach do you think would be the best path forward for her right now?
I'm a big Joe Biden fan. So I think what Biden's economy is a great thing. If you look at the economy and, of course, the GDP that he's had 7 quarters of plus 4% growth, where Trump never had 3% growth in all 16 quarters he had. And you can go back to Obama and Clinton and see the Democrats have done great things with the economy. So I wouldn't run away from that. And you got to remember, too, that Biden was a real proponent for protecting Ukraine back during the Clinton administration. This is a man that has loved democracy, and he's been a servant for this country for 50 plus years and has done wonderful things. I really believe that she should hold tight and true to the strong part of the Democrats' message, which is that we have a border bill that we presented to this president, who Johnson and he vetoed, that would have ended catch and release, that would have held asylum seekers in some sort of holding until their cases were adjudicated, would have shut down the border with 5,000 encounters. This was a strong border bill. No, I think that Biden is a strong pillar for her in a lot of areas. The public representation of him as an old man succeeded, and the Democrats removed him in a right way. They did it through the convention like it's supposed to be done, and now she's the candidate, and she's doing really well. So I think Biden is a good thing, a good pillar, a good anchor.
Now, Bobby, during her recent appearance on ABC's The View, Vice President Harris was asked if she would have done anything differently than Biden during their term together. I want to play that sound and get your reaction.
If anything, would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
Yeah.
Now, she's come under a bit of criticism for that response. What's your reaction?
Oh, well, my reaction is if we were going to go with this campaign of clinging on to Biden and his policies on the economy, border, then I would advocate that as well, because then we're going to win, and we're going to win in a landslide. The idea of running a change campaign without change is kind of nonsensical. She says she wouldn't change anything. To run as a change candidate, you have to actually offer something different. And that answer on The View was just, it was so damning to her campaign.
Chip, VP Harris recently announcing a new initiative in Pennsylvania aimed at black men to offer forgivable business loans to black entrepreneurs and create more apprenticeships. How effective do you think this strategy will be, and why does she still continue to struggle in gaining the support of young black voters?
Well, a couple things there. That is also for all minorities. It's not just African Americans. It's for Hispanics. It's for women. It's for a lot of different people across the country. To your point, however, there's a brand new poll that just came out yesterday, conducted by YouGov for CBS News, and found that Harris has similar support for black voters as Joe Biden did in 2020. I'll read you the exact 87% of black voters have said they would vote for Biden. Only 12% said they'll vote for Trump. So that was a non-news story yesterday.
Bobby, it's sort of fascinating that Kamala seems to be struggling with younger minority voters versus Trump struggling with white women, suburban voters. Why do you think this is? And what do you think the younger minority population, why do you think they're gravitating more toward Trump this cycle?
Well, I think you can sum it up in one word, and that is real. And that is why Trump's going on these podcasts. And when he does, the reaction he gets from minorities or just young people in general is just, it's outstanding. And the reason is because he's not afraid to go out there. He's not afraid to talk issues and just tell it like it is. People on the street interviews when they're talking about Kamala Harris is fake, just not real. They don't know where she stands on anything. So now in the home stretch, the final 3 weeks, when something does come out about a new plan for this group or a new plan for that group, it doesn't resonate because people don't believe it. They believe now in a campaign that's floundering and will say anything. And so I think that is what you're seeing, that positive reaction from younger voters actually motivated for the Republican candidate, which is great to see.
Bobby, Eberle, Chip Franklin, really appreciate both of you.
Thanks, guy.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
All right, friends, thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button above. Once you do, tell your friends, share it, spread the word about the 13-minute news hour so we can keep growing. And for more great content, check out these videos right here, and I'll see you next time.